Have you ever caught yourself gripping the steering wheel just a little tighter than you used to? Maybe squinting at a sign that used to be clear as day? Or maybe you've had someone say, "Are you sure you still feel comfortable driving?" And that little voice in the back of your head whispers, "Am I?" If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Driving is more than just a way to get from point A to point B. It's freedom. It's independence. It's being able to swing by the grocery store when you want, take a drive to see your grandkids, or just cruise down your favorite road with your favorite music playing. So it makes sense that many people want to stay behind the wheel as long as safely possible. And you absolutely can, if you pay attention to a few key things. Today, let's talk about exactly that. Not in a scary or judgmental way. Just real talk. From one person who wants to keep their independence to another. This conversation is about staying on the road, safely, confidently, and for as long as you want to be there. Let's start with something most people overlook, but makes a huge difference in how safe and relaxed you feel behind the wheel. Making your car work for you, not against you. If your car seat feels uncomfortable, if you're craning your neck to see over the dashboard, or if your mirrors just don't seem to catch what they're used to, then it's time to adjust. Literally. 1. Of the most important things you can do is to make sure your driving position is supporting your body as it changes. This isn't about age, it's about ergonomics. The way your spine curves, the flexibility in your neck, the range in your knees and shoulders, it all shifts over time. And when your car setup stays the same, but you don't, that's when trouble sneaks in. Start by sitting upright in your seat and adjusting it so your hips and knees are level. Your back should feel supported, not hunched forward or sinking backward. Then check the steering wheel. Your arms should bend comfortably, not stretch or squeeze. And your mirrors? They should show you the road behind and beside you without you needing to twist your neck like a pretzel. Even something as simple as adding a small wedge cushion or a panoramic rearview mirror can make a night and day difference. And speaking of night, let's talk about the second rule. Don't push your driving past your comfort zone, especially when it comes to vision. Eyesight tends to change gradually. You might not notice it at first, but maybe you've noticed more glare from headlights at night, or it's harder to judge distances when the light is low. That's completely normal. But it also means nighttime driving becomes more stressful and sometimes downright dangerous. There's no shame in saying, "You know what? I prefer driving during the day." That's not giving up. It's adapting. And adapting is what smart, safe drivers do. You might even want to schedule your appointments, errands, or visits for mid-morning or early afternoon, when traffic is lighter, your energy is higher, and the sun is still up. And don't forget to get your eyes checked regularly. Even if you think your glasses are still working fine, lenses can get scratched, prescriptions can change, and new glare-reducing coatings can help enormously when driving. There are even glasses made just for driving, with lenses that sharpen distance vision and reduce headlight glare. If you haven't looked into those yet, it might be time. Now let's take a moment to breathe, because I know all of this can sound a little overwhelming. Adjust your seat, change your schedule, maybe even get new glasses. But here's the truth, every one of these steps is just about making driving easier. Less stress, less guesswork, more confidence. And isn't that what we all want? To feel steady, sharp, and in control, like we're driving with the road, not against it. So here's something else that helps keep things in your control, and it might surprise you. Being honest with yourself about reaction time. Reaction time naturally slows with age. That's not a flaw. It's part of the beautiful way our bodies evolve. And while it's not something we can completely reverse, we can work with it. That means giving yourself more space between your car and the one in front of you. It means slowing down just a touch sooner at stop signs, taking an extra second to scan an intersection before pulling through, and never feeling rushed to beat a light. A friend of mine, 74 years old and still as sharp as ever, told me something that stuck. "I drive like I'm one step ahead of everyone else." That's the mindset to have. Anticipate. Give yourself time. Let other people rush around if they want. You're in no hurry, and that's what makes you a better driver, not a slower one. And don't forget, Reaction time is something you can support through small changes in your routine. Staying active, even with daily walks or light stretching, helps keep your reflexes tuned. So does sleep. Yes, sleep. Driving tired can be just as dangerous as driving under the influence. And unfortunately, many older adults brush off poor sleep as normal. It's not, it matters. If you're drowsy, distracted, or not feeling mentally sharp, give yourself permission to delay your trip. The road will still be there tomorrow. Now, I know these first few points might already be stirring some thoughts in your mind. Maybe you're thinking about your own car setup or how you've been feeling on the road lately. That's a good thing. Awareness is step one. Confidence comes next. And speaking of confidence, there's one more essential mindset shift that can make a world of difference, especially if you've been second-guessing yourself behind the wheel. It's about practice. Not just experience from years of driving, but intentional practice. Most of us haven't really practiced driving since we got our license. But skills fade without use, even for seasoned drivers. If it's been a while since you navigated a roundabout, backed into a tight parking spot, or dealt with busy intersections, don't wait until you have to. Try practicing in low pressure. Settings. Find an empty parking lot early on a Sunday morning and run through a few maneuvers. It might feel silly at first, but within minutes you'll be surprised at how much sharper and more confident you feel, like muscle memory waking back up. You're not training for a test, you're reinforcing your independence. And that's something to be proud of. Now that we've talked about getting your car set up for comfort, driving during the safest hours, and protecting your reaction time, there's another crucial piece to the puzzle that brings it all together. And that crucial piece is knowing how to stay mentally alert behind the wheel. We often focus on vision, on hearing, on reflexes, and those are all important, no doubt. But what about the little things we rarely think about, like memory, or attention span, or how well we're processing information while we drive? You've probably had this happen. You're driving along, your mind starts to wander a bit, and suddenly, wait, did you pass your exit? Or maybe you glance in your rear view mirror and wonder, was that light really green when I went through it? That kind of lapse doesn't mean you're not fit to drive, but it is a signal to slow down and pay attention to your mental focus. Driving is multitasking. You're steering, scanning, reacting, deciding, and it all happens in seconds. And, as we age, the brain can sometimes take a little longer to process those layers. That doesn't mean you're any less capable. It just means that building in little mental checkpoints while you drive can help you stay sharp and on top of everything. For example, when you're approaching an intersection, make it a habit to talk yourself through it, silently, or even out loud if you're alone, something like, "Light's green, watch for someone turning left, check mirror, good to go." That habit might seem small, but it keeps your brain focused and helps stop distractions from creeping in. And if you're someone who takes medication, it's worth taking a moment to think about how those prescriptions might affect your clarity behind the wheel. Some medications, especially ones for blood pressure, sleep, anxiety, or pain, can cause drowsiness or slow reaction time. Even if you've been on them for years, bodies change, dosages interact. And something that was fine at 60 might feel different at 75. This doesn't mean you have to stop driving, but it does mean having an honest chat with your doctor or pharmacist. Ask questions, let them know you're still driving and want to make sure you're staying alert and safe. They might suggest a different dosage or recommend taking your meds at a different time of day to avoid drowsiness when you're behind the wheel. You'd be surprised how many little adjustments can make a big difference. And if it helps you keep your keys a little longer, that's worth it. Now let's talk about something that no one likes to think about, but it's one of the smartest moves you can make: planning your routes in advance. There's this old school idea that real drivers just figure it out. They don't need GPS, they don't need to check directions. They know their town like the back of their hand, and maybe that used to be true. But these days, traffic patterns change constantly. New construction, detours, bike lanes, roundabouts, it's a whole different world on the road than it was even 10 years ago. So there's no shame, none at all, in pulling up a map before you go, or using a GPS app with voice directions, or even writing down a few notes on a sticky pad to keep in your car. It's not about being dependent, it's about driving smarter. When you know where you're going, you're calmer. You're not trying to read street signs last minute or make sudden lane changes. And that calm confidence makes you a safer driver, hands down. And here's something else. Don't be afraid to avoid tricky areas or stressful routes. If there's a stretch of road that always makes your stomach tighten or your hands sweat, skip it. Choose the easier route, even if it takes a few minutes longer. Your peace of mind is worth it. I once spoke with a woman in her late 70s who had been driving confidently for decades. But she admitted that left turns at busy intersections made her anxious. So she changed her routine. She planned her errands in a loop that only required right turns. It added about 10 extra minutes to her outings, but she said it gave her back something priceless, her confidence. And confidence, my friend, is the key. That leads me to something that often gets ignored when we talk about older drivers, and that's community support. We all want to be independent. We all want to keep driving ourselves. But asking for help now and then doesn't take that away from you. It actually helps preserve your independence longer. If there's a day where you're not feeling 100%, ask someone to drive you. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Or if you've got a big trip coming up, or you're worried about an unfamiliar freeway or downtown area, consider asking a family member to ride along. Not to take over, just to be a second set of eyes. Someone to help with directions or notice a tricky turn, or even just to reassure you that you're doing great. And let's not forget, driving doesn't have to be all or nothing. Maybe you drive yourself to church and the grocery store, but take the senior shuttle to the doctor's office. Maybe you drive during the day, but let your daughter pick you up for dinner out at night. That's not giving up. That's flexibility. And flexibility is your secret weapon. It means you're adapting. You're paying attention. You're making choices that work for you, not just doing things because you always have. Remember, the goal here isn't to prove anything. You've already proven yourself many times over. The goal is to keep driving well as long as it feels right, for your safety, your comfort, and your freedom. So whether it's adjusting your mirrors, practicing in a quiet parking lot, taking a different route, or simply listening to your body when it says not today, every one of those things is a strength, not a weakness. You're not trying to hold on to something you're losing. You're choosing to keep doing what you love, on your own terms. And isn't that what real independence looks like? Now let's talk about something that might surprise you. It's not about what you do while driving, but what you do before you even get into the car. I'm talking about staying physically prepared. You might not think of driving as a physical activity, but it really is. It requires strength in your arms to steer, flexibility in your neck to check blind spots, and coordination in your feet to manage the pedals smoothly. Even something as simple as getting in and out of the car takes balance, especially if it's a little lower to the ground or you're parked on an incline. And if you've ever felt a little stiff before driving, you know how much harder it is to turn and look over your shoulder, or even just hold the wheel comfortably. That's why staying active matters more than ever. No, you don't need to become a gym rat. You don't need to lift heavy weights or run marathons, but a bit of stretching every day, some gentle walks, and maybe a few chair exercises or yoga movements can work wonders for your mobility. If you can keep your body moving, you'll feel more in control when you're behind the wheel. Try starting your day with 5 minutes of stretching. Focus on your shoulders, neck, and back. Those are the areas that really help you stay safe when you're turning or merging. If it's hard to remember, make it part of your morning routine. Maybe do it while the coffee brews or while watching the news. Little things like that add up. You'll feel the difference not just in the car, but everywhere you go. And don't forget your eyes. Yes, we talked earlier about keeping your vision checked, but there's another side to this: eye movement and awareness. Driving safely means constantly scanning the road, not just staring straight ahead. You need to see what's coming from the sides, what's happening behind you, and what might be up ahead. Practicing eye movement and reaction time, even through simple games or puzzles, can keep your visual awareness sharp. Now let's take a moment to talk about something else: self-trust. Because no matter how many tips you hear or how much experience you have, it all comes down to trusting your instincts. You know yourself better than anyone. You know what feels safe and what feels off. Maybe there's a day you're just not focused. Maybe your hands feel a little shaky. Maybe the weather looks rough and you have that gut feeling, maybe I should stay home today. Listen to that voice. That's not fear, it's wisdom. You've earned that wisdom. You've spent a lifetime behind the wheel, and that experience means something. It means you've developed intuition, and when that intuition speaks, it's okay to let it guide you. There's this idea that stopping, or even pausing, means giving up independence. But the truth is, being independent means being empowered to make the right call for yourself. If you take a day off from driving because it doesn't feel right, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's maturity. That's exactly what keeps you driving longer, because you're choosing safety. And if you ever do decide to drive less, or even stop driving entirely, it's not the end of your freedom. It's simply the start of a different kind of independence. One where you choose what works for your life today, not based on old expectations. But until that day comes, and as long as it feels right for you, you absolutely have the right to be on the road. You have the ability, the knowledge, and the tools to drive safely, comfortably, and confidently. So let's take a deep breath together. Let's shake off the doubt. And let's remind ourselves of something important. Age doesn't decide when you stop driving. Ability does. Awareness does. And those are things you can protect and nurture, one good decision at a time. You're still here, still learning, still showing up. And that says everything. So whether it's adjusting your driving habits, practicing physical flexibility, planning smarter routes, or just being honest with yourself, every single change you make today helps ensure that you'll be in the driver's seat tomorrow. It's not about fear, it's about freedom. The freedom to keep doing what you love, the freedom to go where you want to go, the freedom to live life fully and on your own terms. If you've been watching this and thinking, well, maybe I've got a few things to work on, good. That means you care. That means you're already ahead of the curve. Most people never stop to think about how to drive better. They just keep doing what they've always done until something forces a change. But you're taking action now. You're staying ahead of the curve, and that's what real independence looks like. So go ahead, check those mirrors, stretch those shoulders, and map out that route. Then get in the car with confidence, knowing you're not just staying on the road, you're owning it. And hey, if any of this helped you, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or your own driving tips, because when we share what works, we help each other stay stronger. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more practical tips to keep you healthy, happy, and thriving at every age. Here's to the road ahead. You've earned it. Drive safe, stay strong, and remember, you're not slowing down. You're just driving smarter. Sometimes people hear the phrase senior driver and jump to all the wrong conclusions. They think slower reflexes. They think more mistakes. They think fragility. But what they forget, what we should never forget, is the depth of experience you bring to the road. Think about how many miles you've driven in your life, how many back roads and highways, how many family road trips, doctor appointments, grocery runs, or quiet evening drives just to clear your mind. That kind of experience can't be taught in a book or a classroom. It's something earned, and it's powerful. You've seen all kinds of road conditions. You've handled emergencies. You've driven through storms, detours, construction, zones, and late-night traffic. And through it all, you learned to trust your judgment. You learned how to stay calm when others might panic. You learned how to read the road like a second language. That wisdom is a gift. But like all good things, it needs a little tuning up every now and then. That's what the 5 rules are really about. Not changing who you are, but sharpening your edge, so you can keep doing what you do best, living your life with confidence and control. Because the truth is, independence isn't about pretending. You're still 40. It's about being honest with where you are and smart about how you move forward. It's about choosing to stay safe so that you can stay independent. And that choice, it's a strength. You're not clinging to the past. You're navigating the present. You're adapting, evolving, paying attention. You're driving with care, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. That's something the world could use a little more of. So if you've ever felt uncertain, if you've ever asked yourself, should I still be doing this? Know that just asking the question means you care. That means you're already safer than most. Because being thoughtful, reflective, and proactive behind the wheel makes you not only a better driver, but a better example for everyone else on the road. Let's be honest, driving can be stressful. Traffic's worse than ever. People are impatient. Some drivers are distracted, some aggressive. It can feel overwhelming. But that's all the more reason to make sure you're showing up at your best. Take your time. Leave early so you don't feel rushed. Drive in daylight when possible. Stick to familiar routes or roads with good lighting. Let someone else drive. At night if you're feeling tired. These aren't signs of giving up. They're smart choices that help you stay behind the wheel longer. And remember, staying on the road isn't just about physical ability. It's also about emotional well-being. If driving brings you joy, keeps you connected to people you love and gives you a sense of purpose, then it's worth nurturing. But if it ever begins to feel like a burden or a source of anxiety, that's okay too. You're allowed to reevaluate. There are more options than ever now. Ride-sharing apps, community transportation programs, carpool groups for seniors. These are all tools you can use on your own terms. They're not a replacement for your independence. They're an extension of it. They keep you mobile, they keep you connected, and most importantly, they keep you safe. So whether you're driving every day or just a few times a week, let each trip be a moment of pride. Let it be a reminder that you're still in control. You're still showing up for yourself. You're still moving forward. And if you ever do hand over the keys for good, let it be your choice made on your timeline with your head held high. Because even that decision is a mark of strength. It means you put your safety and the safety of others first. And that is something to be deeply proud of. But until that day comes, I want you to hold on to this. You are capable. You are wise. And you belong on the road, just as much as anyone else. Driving after 70 doesn't mean you're slowing down. It means you're showing up with more experience, more caution, and more heart than ever before. So let's celebrate that. Let's embrace every tip, every adjustment, every moment of awareness, not as a limitation but as a form of empowerment. If this video helped you, inspired you, or even just gave you something to think about, please take a second to let us know in the comments. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And when we share our experiences, we remind each other that we're not alone in this journey. And while you're here, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. There's so much more we want to share with you about living well, aging with grace, and staying strong in every part of life. Because this isn't just about driving, it's about freedom, it's about confidence, and it's about believing every single day that you are still in the driver's seat of your own life. Here's to safe travels, open roads, and a future that's just as exciting as the past. Keep going, stay curious, and most of all, never let anyone make you feel like your best days are behind you. They're not, they're still unfolding, 1 mile at a time.